Hey, how's it going, everybody? Apologize for the delay once again. Yes, I have been busy. I've been able to cut it close today, so let's just dive right into it. Um, let's just start NBA, and we'll start with playoffs: NBA, NHL, PWHL. So we'll just start there before we get into Champions League. Yeah, the Rangers swept the Washington Capitals. People keep talking about how my Pittsburgh Penguins were robbed of a spot since we beat them in the during the season, but it is what it is. They got swept and they got swept, and it's been a while since we've seen someone get really swept. So, uh, it's a shame because Ovechkin didn't record a point, but there's still more hockey. There's still Winnipeg is down 3 games to 1, and so are a few others. I'm pretty sure Toronto, of course, down 3 games against Boston to 1, and yeah, so there's a few. Could be some eliminations happening this week. I'm not gonna say that there is because I could be wrong. They could take it to 6. They could take it to 7. Doesn't really matter, but because in the end, only one can claim the cup. And right now, my bet's on a lot of teams in the West because it'll just if it's not Boston because they're rounding off in the form, who are you really going against? You got Colorado who is looking hot with Kale McCarr just making it look easy, and then you got Vegas again, so Edmonton's looking good. So we'll see what happens. We'll see where everybody ends up because it could, who knows? And it's just the NHL playoffs are so predictable. But then again, no one predicted in the NBA that Bucks would have Giannis and Dame go down, and so that's kind of a shame because it looks like they're on the verge of that eliminate or on the verge of being potentially eliminated if things just don't get better. I saw that the Suns got a swept. So I look at some of the team looks like the Lakers. Who knows what could happen with them? They're fighting for their lives, and there's a lot of teams. The Clippers and Mavs. I think it's the Clippers here. Let me check. Yeah, the Clippers series I think is tied. That just got tied. Yeah, because the Lakers are down 3-1. OKC, yeah, the OKC is also taking their. It looks like they're taking their series right now. Heats took a game, but Boston could go up 3-1. We'll see. Right now, it's right in the NBA. There seems to be some really, really well made affairs that they paired together. And this Heat Celtics, this goes back some time. The Lakers not right. We're on the verge of being swept, but Nuggets are they really gonna go down in Denver? Let's just there's some predictability. There's some good if you're a betting person, it's probably some good time to put some bets on. Look, there's a lot of teams that are fighting for their lives. Why not give them a shot? There's Pelicans, Lakers, 76ers going back to New York tomorrow. Yeah, Magic and Cavs are tied. Mavs and Clippers are tied. So there's really good matchups, and so I'm happy. I'm more happy this. If I said there was never really nothing bad about the NBA season. The only thing I wish, if we had the instant season tournament happened during, like, 3/4 of the way through, or say during Christmas, or on that level, like right before the All-Star break. If they could move the in-season tournament to about more of a appropriate time when there's some teams have some wins under their belt, and it doesn't feel like it's like a championship given. It's the inaugural. I'm not gonna knock on it, but I think they could have did a little. There is some things you can do better with it, such as, like, the European way. If you're gonna think of the European way, all their in-season tournaments usually either take place at the end of the season or during, like, 3/4 of the way through. After Christmas, after the breaks, after what they call the international break and stuff. Yeah, but that's just me. MLS. Shout out to my Toronto FC. They beat a really good team in Orlando SC, who is a very, very good team, who has been a good team. So I'm happy for that. We're looking good at the start, but we have to keep it up. Right now, it's almost at the international break for the Euros. So a lot of people are going to take off, and we're going to see kind of some clubs get, like, a lot of the Europeans are going to take off. We're still going to have a lot of South Americans, the Africans, and so there's still going to be stuff going on. But I like it. Euros are coming up. Copa's coming up. Canada. Hopefully we look good. We got Argentina, and also we got friendlies coming up internationally. Argentina and France, I think, in 2025. I don't know if that's at the end of this year or next year, but more into that later. PWHL, my Ottawa are fighting for the last playoff spot. 3 teams: Toronto, Montreal, and what's the team? I'll look at it. Sorry, I kind of had a brain fart. I just lost track of which teams are in the race. Montreal, Toronto, Boston. We're fighting Boston for that last spot, but Minnesota. And I was actually about to say Chicago there, or something. So I apologize to the Minnesota, because you guys have had an excellent season. The 3 spots already taken. Of course, Toronto claiming the top spot, which is insane right now. But don't be surprised if Montreal still ends up with the Marie-Philippe Poulin. But I trust by Ottawa. We got 2 games left. So Boston, if they lose to Montreal, that means we're most likely going to be in, but we'll see. And we'll go from there. And it's looking good, girls. I appreciate it, ladies. And I'm really rooting for you. So, with all that said, can we get to some Champions League? Let's, you know what? I'm actually very interested. I'm going to start with the Europa League champion, or Conference League. Seeing Florentia back in the, fighting for that spot. But then I'm looking at Club Brugge. They've lost a Europa final, if I'm correct, and they also, they've been in the Final Four a couple of times, and then since the last 10 years, rules change and stuff. Club Brugge keeps missing; they keep losing within the round of 16. So they, to see him come this far, to have such a good team, to see it was Jonathan David and Buchanan, I think it was. There was a couple of Canadians on there that were loans, and now they left, but or Kyle Laird, I think it was. But yeah, no, they've played a lot of their team. Like, if you look at the only team to get a win against them was the Norwegians, FK Mold. But they still won on aggregate. So that win technically didn't. It came at a cost, right? It was a 2-1 victory, and then they beat them 3-0 the next game. They beat Thessalonia at home, and on the road, and clean sheets. So they beat one of the host clubs, national clubs. So that got a little chemistry going from. But Florentia has been playing good. They totally dominated the Serbian team. I'm not gonna and then tight knitted affair against Gannett. They tied with the Hungarians Ferencváros, but almost lost to Maccabi Haifa and the Israelis, but then shut of the Czechs, Victoria Plzeň. So, you can't really. They're going for they're trying to get back and keep that Italian flavor going for the Europa Conference Finals. Let's be honest. And then the other matchup, we got the host Olympiacos, Athens, if I'm correct, with Aston Villa. And Aston Villa lost their first match. Since then, they pretty much kept it dominant. They lost to... Who was it? Oh, I can't even... I don't even know. But I think it might have been AZ Alkmaar that beat them in the first match. But anyway, they still beat them on aggregate. And it's a 6-2. Then, like Lego, the Polish team, Lego Warsaw, was the only one they drew with them. But it was still like a 4-4, so there was still like they had to outscore them. And then, once they got to the next round, they clean sheeted Ajax, the Netherlands team. So, and then they won on penalty shootouts against the French Lille. So that's going to be a good finals for Aston Villa. And then Olympiacos ended up being third in Europa League, and I think they were in Group A. So they're West Ham and another team, TSC. I can't remember the other team that they were with, but it looks like it might have. SC Freiburg. They lost to SC Freiburg. Of course, like blowing out 8-1. So that was the only team. That's why they got demoted. But they tied with West Ham and totally dominated the Serbians. TSC Topeka. I'm not gonna bother pronounce it. It's TSC. If you want to look it up, Serbian football league. Check it out. I'm not gonna kill their names. I'm tired of killing these European teams' names. If they have an acronym, I'm gonna use it. I apologize if that's disrespectful. So let's get into the Europa Conference League. They had to fight through play-ins, and they actually also played Ferencváros, who also had to fight Florentia, and they shut them out. I think they drew and then shut them, or they drew or something, or they just shut them out both matches. I think 1-0 or something like that, and then beat almost lost to the Israelis, Maccabi Tel Aviv, and then won on penalty shootouts against Fenerbahce, Turkish. So they beat some really good teams on the way, lost to a good team in a different league, but now have a chance to host a match in their host nation. Like, come on, like this is it's almost like it feels like I almost see. It doesn't matter whether it's Club Brugge, Olympiacos, or Aston Villa, or if it's Florentia, right? This is going to be a really good final, and I really like this. So I wanted to say shout out to the people making that decided to make a third tier. Awesome. Now let's get on to Europa. Heavyweight matchup. AS Roma, Bayer Leverkusen. AS Roma, inaugural Europa Conference League champions of 2021, now up against the undefeated in 45 or 46 matches, Bayer Leverkusen. 04 Leverkusen, Bundesliga champions, possibly also DFB Polka champions. We'll see on the 25th. Let's just they're undefeated. Bayer Leverkusen blasted through all their competition. Mold, BK Haken, Quarberg, Zabinajani, and they versed them twice, destroying them both times. Why that matchup was made, if you were the people that made Europa Conference League and saw that they were going to see each other in the round of 16, should have said no. No, I would have stuck to it, but then they beat West Ham. And that's it. They undefeated throughout how many matches? Draws, wins, that's all they got. They literally a legendary run. Most wins of all time right now in past 20-some years. I'm pretty sure I'm going to see a statistic that they're going to go back fucking 100 years and they're going to be somewhere in getting up there. So, and we're talking about legendary teams. So what they could do is possibly something legendary, and that's win a Europa. Actually give prestige, because it feels like the last few years, people like Sevilla, there was talk Sevilla, they don't do good in their league. They're in 15th, they get demoted from Champions League, but then they win Europa. So there's been that stereotype. This could bring back prestige, apparently, to the title that I don't feel had any wrongdoing. Sevilla get demoted and blasted because they get put into bad conferences, but then they have a chance, and it's just the draw of luck. That's all I look at the play-ins, is that's the draw of the luck. That, look at AS Roma. They were second, and they still had to do the play-in, and they beat some very good teams. Only lost once, and that was to, I think, the Czech, because they beat Servette, they beat the Swiss, they beat the Moldovan Sheriff. Then it was Slava Prague, who they drew with, but probably lost in the first leg. I can't remember. They lost one match, and then lost, and then they lost again to. It looks like it might have been Brighton in one of the matches, but to be honest, they still beat them on aggregate. Then they beat AC Milan on aggregate again. Or no, in both matches, sorry. But so it was Brighton they lost to. I think in the second match they probably, because they already beat them in the first. So you're going to look at it. So regardless, there's a good team that's going home after two matches. And it's either going to stop a legendary run from the German squad, or it's going to stop the Italians from claiming another trophy. And that's where I put that. And that's a hell of a matchup. So kudos to that matchup. And now I get to talk about another Italian team that's been having a very good year, Atalanta, versus my French rivals, Marseille, Olympique de Marseille, who somehow make it into the semifinals. It's just flabbergasted how they were able to do it. They just kept winning and drawing out with the best of the best. Like, they beat Athens, they beat Ajax on aggregate. It looks like, because they might have lost or won or lost. I don't know. It might have been that might have been one of the teams. It might have been Brighton they lost to. I'm not too sure. But anyway, they drew on aggregate with Brighton, and then they beat the Ukrainian Shakhtar, beat the Spanish Villarreal, and then beat the Portuguese, arguably the greatest Portuguese team, Benfica. I love all the main teams that Benfica, SCP, Sporting CP, uh, Braga, all of them have such a special connection. But anyway, they beat them on penalty kicks, and Braga had a horrible outing through Champions League, and it's like, yeah, they still made it. So it doesn't matter how bad you are in Champions League. If you do good in Europa play-ins and you get hot, you get hot. And that's just it. That's in any sport. Anybody that is mad at that can just fucking suck a lemon and enjoy the fucking show. Because honestly, I'm not going to take anything away. They had to go up against very hard talent and still came out with coming out in the semis. 4-4-3 record, but still coming there. And Atalanta, laying it to the Polish, Rako, Czestochowa. Definitely coming out against Sporting CP, and then beating the Austrian Sturm Graz, fighting them again the first time, and then the second time, being able to beat them 6-4, and then beating Liverpool in England, in their own home, in Liverpool's home. Of course, they lost. That was the only match they lost, was at home to Liverpool, 1-0 match, but it didn't really matter. Liverpool was already eliminated by the 80th minute, and they only had one goal. So, that again, that's going to be another matchup. Like, there's, Marseille had to go up against a really good competition. They haven't had to verse Italian competition, but hey, they had to verse just as good. And none of those teams are scrubs that they versed. Shakhtar or the Ukrainian champions. You got Villarreal, who did very good in La Liga, and you got Benfica, who just won there. Brighton claimed fourth or fifth or something like that in EPL. And Ajax, winning their league how many times they ever did, the Eredivisie, in Athens, and so no, don't. And they beat one of the Athens, the team that's supposed to be hosting. They beat them in group stage. So Athens I don't even think made it out of the group stage. If they did, it would have been probably the play-ins or something like that. But anyway, I think it was the play-ins if I'm correct. So I do apologize to AEK Athens. But anyway, let's get to the top league competition, Champions League. Big matchup tomorrow. Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. Real Madrid always wins on that. It's like, how do you know that? 14 Champions Leagues, 6 Champions Leagues. Bayern Munich, greatest rival. Like, this is the matchup you want. It's like, well, we're going to talk about the teams that they beat. Why? They beat them. Bayern Munich absolutely beat Arsenal. Yeah, I think they drew or something like that. And they lost one time. I think it was the Lazio. And that's it. Well, Real Madrid. Real Madrid's undefeated. Okay? Should we go on? What are they fighting for? The title. That is what those clubs do. Anyone else that's a part of the teams that Bayern Munich or Real Madrid beat, then I'm sorry. That's just it. They beat, and I know they beat some good teams. Hence, the greatest team that's ever won Champions League beat the recent champions, Man City. So that's where it goes. Now let's go to the matchup of matchups where Paris Saint Germain will be facing Dortmund. The supremacy of Group F, if I'm correct. I can't remember our group. We versed them, beat them in both matches. Or no, sorry, drew and then beat them in the first match. So I only expect them to go to fight hard in this one because we claimed second, but we're hot. We lost to we both ended up losing in one pairing in our groups. We lost. Paris Saint Germain lost to Newcastle, and they lost to us. So, yeah, Newcastle opened up in England, just 4-1 victory. That was, but since then we kind of just, and I kind of think, if I'm correct, we also lost to AC Milan, but then we ended up, yeah, we still won on aggregate, beat Real Sociedad on aggregate, and then last week or 2 weeks ago beat Barcelona in Barcelona. Almost looking like we were going to be gone. Shout out to the ladies. We actually lost. That's another one. We lost to Barcelona, to Lyon in the semifinals. So, Women's Champions League, we'll be talking about that here shortly. So the road to Wembley is looking good. The road to Ireland looks good. The road to Athens looks good. So, just can't wait. And tomorrow, the big matchup's going to go on, and we're going to see what happens. And we go out. So Lyon will take on Barcelona for the 4th time, and we'll see who. And Lyon's already claimed 2 championships off them, and lost one final, and we'll see where Lyon goes with that, because that's going to be, and that's coming here shortly as well. So, with that ado, that is all I got for now. I will see you guys in a couple of weeks after, probably before the finals. If I don't, I'll get at you during the finals. Much love. Love you guys.